Hello, welcome to our RecapPlus channel with me, Matthew. Today we will watch a recap movie called Mojave Diamond, released in 2023. This is a spoiler content video. So please turn on the subtitle and let's start the story. Two brothers, Joe and Danny, were enjoying their free time by hunting animals in the wild. After the hunt, Joe expressed his disapproval of their brother Roy's behavior. He mentioned how Roy frequently got into trouble and was in and out of jail, often due to his involvement in violent activities as a free fighter. Joe was concerned about Roy's troubled path, but Danny held on to the belief that Roy was fundamentally a good person and hoped he would eventually change. Meanwhile, we were introduced to Roy himself, who was getting ready to head to the battle arena. Roy was a laid-back, free-spirited individual. Even 5 minutes before his fight, he took the time to make out with his girlfriend, Lisa, despite the guests who had come to watch his match waiting for him. Roy, a former soldier in the Special Forces, had a distinct advantage in the ring and easily dominated his opponent. After knocking out his opponent, he returned to Lisa for another kiss. However, his opponent hadn't truly been defeated and, since there were no rules in this match, made a surprising recovery, turning the tables on Roy. Roy's boss, Julian, was furious due to Roy's arrogance. Julian, a ruthless mafia leader, ordered his men to arrest and punish Roy for causing him to lose $10 million. Julian was annoyed that Roy had let his guard down and suspected it was because he was having too much fun with Lisa. In a horrifying act of violence, Julian killed Lisa right in front of Roy. Subsequently, Julian took Roy to a warehouse where he stored kilograms of rare diamonds acquired from a mining operation. Julian instructed Roy to transport these diamonds to two different locations, Point A and Point B. If Roy successfully completed the mission, he would be rewarded with $1 million. This offer intrigued and puzzled Roy, as Julian had an army of armed men at his disposal. Julian revealed his reasons for choosing Roy. He believed Roy's exceptional driving skills made him the right candidate for the job. Additionally, Roy's brothers had military backgrounds and could potentially assist him. Finally, Julian pointed out that Roy had caused him substantial losses. He issued an ultimatum to Roy, warning that if he declined the mission, he would not hesitate to harm Roy's brother Joe, his sister-in-law, and his niece. Confused and in need of help, Roy attempted to contact Joe, but Joe, still upset with him, ignored the call. The following day, Danny, who was actively serving in the military, grew concerned when he couldn't reach his brother Roy. Danny decided to visit Joe at his home, hoping to find answers. Upon arriving at Joe's house, Danny discovered Joe engrossed in training his horses for racing and taking care of his pets. The two brothers reunited, and Joe explained that Roy had called him the previous night, but Joe had chosen not to answer because he was still upset with Roy's behavior. Danny began to regret Joe's decision, fearing that Roy might be in trouble and in need of their help. Despite Roy's troubled past, Danny believed that family came first and they should support Roy in his time of need. After failing to reach Joe by phone, Roy decided to visit his brother's house. His arrival was met with warm greetings from his niece and sister-in-law. Danny, who was also present, informed Joe that Roy had come and expressed his hope for a family reconciliation. However, Joe, aware of Roy's past behavior, is reluctant to deal with him, as he believes Roy only showed up when he was in trouble. Roy, feeling unwelcome, decided to leave Joe's farm. Before departing, he asked Danny to accompany him for the next few days. Danny agreed, considering that he and Roy had been estranged for quite some time. Before they left, Danny asked Roy to explain the situation he was in. During their journey, Roy revealed that he was in serious trouble. He had been tasked with delivering a high-value item that belonged to a dangerous mob. Consequently, they had to abide by the conditions set by the mob boss. After an exhausting trip, Roy took Danny to an underground fighting arena operated by his friend. There, they witnessed an intense battle between two top fighters, Barney Boy and the formidable Big Duke. Big Duke emerged victorious without much of a struggle from Barney Boy. Following the fight, Roy challenged Big Duke, revealing that he had beaten him in a freestyle match in the past. The next day, Roy and Danny continued their journey, heading to a location where they were to pick up a supply of diamonds for delivery to a designated destination. Upon arriving at the diamond storage warehouse, they were greeted by Paulie, Julian's right-hand man, who had been assigned to guard the warehouse. Paulie explained to Roy that the diamonds had been concealed within drink bottles to deceive the police. After a tiring drive, Roy and Danny made a stop at a convenience store to rest, purchase food and drinks, and recharge their energy for the upcoming tasks. Julian, upon receiving Roy's call and hearing about the situation, was both surprised and enraged. It became clear to him that his right-hand man, Paulie, had double-crossed him and orchestrated the robbery of the diamonds while framing Roy and Danny for the act. Roy explained to Julian that they were being set up, and the diamonds were now in Polly's possession. He assured Julian that he would retrieve the stolen diamonds, but he needed his niece and sister-in-law to be released safely first. Julian, still seething with anger, agreed to release them, realizing that they were now irrelevant to him. Roy and Danny then received information from Julian about the location where Joe's wife and daughter were being held captive. Roy made it clear that he would only hand over the diamonds once he had confirmed their safety. With this newfound understanding, Roy and Danny embark on a mission to rescue Joe's family from Julian's clutches and retrieve the stolen diamonds from Polly's gang. They knew they were in for a perilous and challenging task, but their determination to save their family and clear their names drove them forward. Roy joined the fight between Joe and Julian, evening the odds. Together, they managed to overpower Julian, who was no match for their combined strength and combat skills. With Julian defeated, Joe's wife and daughter were finally freed from captivity. Outside the headquarters, Danny continued to provide sniper support, taking out any threats that approached the building. The chaos began to die down as Polly, who had been knocked out by Julian earlier, woke up to find himself in the middle of the battle. With the hostages safe and Julian captured, the police detectives Johnson and Garcia, who had been observing the situation, decided it was time to intervene. They arrested Julian and several members of his gang, putting an end to their criminal activities. After the dust had settled, Joe, Roy, and Danny had a heartfelt conversation. They realized the importance of family and the need to put their differences aside. To watch more video like this, click on the videos on your screen, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last I will say stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.